Welcome back to the Play It Down Sports Podcast, episode 14. We're your hosts, Scott and Tom. First up, more boneheaded, clueless actions of the week. Who made the cut, and do any of these eventually make our top 3 list? Next, we move on to our college and pro picks for the upcoming week. Then we recap our picks from last week. We also have a new segment this week. What were they thinking? Finally, we touch on some early season surprises, some hot takes, see who just isn't cutting it. Please remember to always bet responsibly. And as always, follow us on Instagram to get the earliest chance to see the picks we're playing for the weekend. Like, comment, and subscribe. You can catch us on Apple and Spotify podcast services as well. So grab your beverage of choice and let's play it down. All right. What's your wine tonight?
What the wine? This is a Meritage of 2021. It's a Merlot Cab blend, and it's very, very good.
All right.
Comes from Cameron Hughes. Very, very solid.
Back to
Lot
the
number.
wine of the month club.
Mhm.
All right. I want to thank John LaBianca for the Stella Chalice. However, tonight I am not drinking a Stella.
What are you drinking? It looks like water.
It does look like water. It is not water, I assure you. It is alcoholic. It is so these are hard to find in all reality. It is Have a Day Tequila Watermelon Wave. It's a tequila cocktail. It's by the
Sounds like a drink my nieces would drink on the beach.
It's very tasty.
Yeah.
It's from Bob Does Sports. They are YouTube golfers. Hopefully some of you've heard them. If you haven't, you should check them out. They are ever loving, hysterical. Bobby Fairways, Joey Colcuts, and Fat Perez make up Bob Does Sports, and they are great.
Fat Perez, I love that name.
Gotta love Fat Perez. FP. And they're delicious. I get it at Total Wine. It's the only place I can find it around here. But every now and then they have it.
Supposedly got everything at that place.
Have you been?
I haven't, but
oh my god!
Yeah,
they do have everything, by the way. All right, let's start. Here we go.
Oh, we have a lot of candidates that we had to comb through this week to get to the top 3, didn't we?
Oh my god! Oh my god! I don't even know what to say. All right. So let's start number 3.
We got to go right back to Denver and Indianapolis, right?
Here we are.
It seems like the Denver Broncos are involved every week.
Every week,
and they're going to go.
It's like Sean Payton might make the top 3,
a magnet
just as like an honorary member of the Boneheaded Clueless class of 2025.
Now, in this particular case, he's not really the center of the bonehead, and last week really he wasn't either. He was sort of a part of it. But we had Brian Callahan from the Titans, right?
Titans really make the make the boneheaded move.
Now here what we see Sean Payton pleading to the referees. But there was a lot to this, right? This is the end of the Indianapolis-Denver game. Denver's up 28-26. And Indianapolis decides that the best way to win the game, I don't know what they were thinking. Maybe they'd watch the Dallas Giant game where someone kicked the 64-yard field goal.
Last time I checked, they can't just like helicopter him in to make a kick, right?
No, okay. There's only a couple kickers that can kick it that far and accurate, and he's one of them.
Oh my god!
I don't think the Colt kicker,
what a weapon.
Yeah. Right. Yes. That was brutal as a Giant fan to watch that. But anyway, getting back to this Denver Colt game. So the Colts are moving down the field, and they've got enough time to run some extra plays, and they basically decide that they are going to settle for a 60-yard field goal attempt.
They ran it 3 straight times.
Yeah, they basically were just trying to be conservative. We're going to go for a 60-yarder, and so that was the part of the bonehead to start, right? But then, not to be topped, was the fact that somehow the Denver Broncos decided that it would be a good idea to attempt hard to block the kick, and they jump blocked it. And they leveraged themselves over the center, and the referees now threw a flag, right? On a delayed basis.
And you can see in the top photo, the ref is right on it.
Yeah.
I mean, he's looking right at the play.
Yeah, he does leverage. But he's like he's leaning in. Am I going to call this? Am I not? And then they have a big conference in the middle of the field, these 3 referees. This is not the picture with Sean Payton. They then decide to invoke the 15-yard penalty. And now they're explaining this to Peyton on the sideline, who's probably thinking, why did we try to block this kick? Why did not have my team prepared to just let this guy kick the 60-yard kick went 5 yards short and off to the right.
And I don't know if you heard during the broadcast, they said the longest he made going that way was 58.
Right. So the 60-yarder is probably
right
no
in his
more
wheelhouse.
than a 15% chance of maybe getting through on his best day. They decide they're going to do this, and now we get to re-kick it. And the 45-yard field goal sailed through the uprights, and the Colts steal the game from the Denver Broncos.
Yes, they do.
So we've got a bunch of different boneheads. We've got the Denver special teams. We've got Peyton not having his team prepared. We've got the coach not settling for a 60-yard field goal. We got the referees kind of not knowing what they're doing and bundling, even though it might have been a penalty. They're conferencing and then explaining, and it was just a nightmare ending to watch. Unless you were a Colt fan inside that stadium, then you were probably ecstatic.
And I don't know how many people lost with Denver and Circa.
I know I did, because I had to make it more bitter. I had Denver -1, and they were up 2, and they lost that game. So that added insult to injury. There was a few people who had them in the survivorship, although I don't think that was a very good pick in this kind of game. But anyway, it was. We can move on. That was
that is number 3 on the list. So number 2.
Number 2, we got to go down. We got to go down south. Right. And we've got to go to Dabo Dumbo Sweeney. Right. We have to have him.
Your favorite coach.
He just makes it easy. He's just too easy. Right. So here he is in a conference after the game. And, he's under fire. They lose on the last second kick to Georgia Tech.
But they didn't play well at all. Let's be honest.
No, they didn't. But it was a great finish, 23-20. And everybody, a lot of the experts have said Clemson could possibly be in the national championship game.
Yeah, I mean, they were ranked pretty high preseason. So,
but I don't know that and I kind of predicted they wouldn't make the ACC championship game. And at this point, they're looking like they've got some work to do to get there. So anyway, after the game, I keep calling it Dumbo. I'm sorry, Dumbo, if you're watching, Dabo. If he goes up and he starts to go into this 15-minute, kind of sermon almost about how his program has been so great over the years. He's won 2 national championships. He's been to the championship 4 times, and he recites the ups and downs of the program over the last 15 years.
Yeah.
He goes on for 7 to 8 minutes, longer than a good sermon would be, right? Talking about all of these ups and downs, when the question was, is your the direction of your program, are you feeling like maybe things are going in the wrong direction, was really the question.
Mm-hmm.
And instead of answering it in the moment that his team was going to be able to respond, he still has confidence. He goes through all the ups and downs to try to justify the fact and not answer the question directly. And gives, he went all the way back to, the loss to Syracuse in 2017.
Yeah. I mean,
he had all the way back.
He had receipts.
And if I'd have been, the guys that were, the media's in there, they must have, you'd think they would have fallen asleep by the time this thing was done. So anyway, Dabo, if you're listening, I think I got your name right. You do get the number 2 knucklehead of the week.
Now I will say,
and bonehead.
just to throw in
knucklehead, bonehead for sure.
Yes.
I don't know if he was as clueless, because he may have actually done all this by design.
Well, that's the thought, right?
Clueless is that people are not going to see that he did not answer the question that was asked.
The lack of cluelessness is because there's thoughts that he was sending a message to the boosters saying, hey, if you don't like winning and you don't want me here, there's plenty of other places.
He said in the thing, we've won 8 out of 10 ACCs. Yeah. Is that good? Well, Dabo, you're in the ACC. You're in the ACC. Yeah. It's not a very good conference. And your team has slid over the last couple of years because you won't use the portal. And you're stubborn and pigheaded. Yeah. That's what you are. And you're going to start to see the results are going to leak.
It will be interesting to see their program over the next few years, how much it does regress until they start. And I think there's a lot of
He does have a lot of sticking
transitioning.
power because guys will stay with the program, but he doesn't
Wow.
seem to go outside of that portal or to the
Did
portal.
you hear what his buyout was? Any
No.
idea? $60 million.
Oh, wow.
He has a $60 million buyout.
That's like Jimbo Fisher money.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I don't know anyone's ponying that up just yet.
No, he's probably there for.
Well, I think his contract runs until 31.
He's also lost his defensive coordinator at Oklahoma. Yeah. I mean, things aren't,
And with the whole transfer portal and college landscapes, this is a new world.
Yeah, and he's not flexing.
And he hasn't figured it out yet. They're going to have to, or that $60 million will get paid out. All right, that is number 3 and number 2.
Yeah, so now we got to go to number 1.
Now, let's discuss number 1. Do we tell the story and then show the video, or do we just go?
Yeah, so, we've talked about boneheads and cluelessness, and every once in a while, you just have to look in the mirror and say that you may yourself have to be on that list. So the story with this is about 2.5 months ago, you and I were playing in a tournament at Picatinny.
It was member.
We had two 18-hole matches, and I was more scatterbrained than normal. I had left a couple of clubs behind during the rounds of golf, and I'm notorious for leaving things behind on greens and on.
And we took a cart. You were not walking,
right? And the
typically when you take a cart, you tend to leave things.
It's a little worse with a cart, right? So I have this little string bag, and at the end of the round, we were chipping and putting and practicing, and I left the string bag by my bag, and at least that's what I thought. And then I get to the car, right, and get home, and I can't find the string bag. And in the string bag are my glasses, charger, a bunch of little things, right? And I basically could not find it and said, did I really leave it on the ground? Could that be possible? Drove all the way back to the course.
Yeah.
Bag's not on the ground. Think, oh, these people in the wedding. I've got the people in the wedding taking the bag now. Yep. That's where my head was.
If they came out,
they somehow came out.
Called the maintenance shed.
Well, they weren't open at that point because now we're late Saturday. Yes. So I go back Sunday. I actually go up to the club because a woman says there's no bag in the pro shop. I don't actually believe her.
No, you don't.
It didn't look like she gave me the right level of attention.
You're like calling me. You're like, I don't know if they're right. I don't think she's looking.
She was pretty nasty when I walked in and was not interested in dealing with it. I go out to the cart barn. I asked the cart boy to take a look. Anyway, this goes on. I call the pro shop the next week, and the bag just doesn't turn up. Okay, so now we fast forward the tape 2.5 months, and this is a reenactment of I could not get my clubs to get down into the slots at times. And I'm like, what the hell? So finally, when I was at this Potsdam Invitational last week, I basically said, I've got to find out what's making those clubs not get all the way down. And this is the reenactment.
What the fuck? Ah.
So the thing is these glasses that I've got in the bag were in the bottom of the bag. I'm wearing them now. They're all marked up.
You've been hitting them with clubs for the last 2.5 months.
And I wore a backup pair of glasses, and I was going to go to the optician and get a new pair, and I was there. And now I've got the glasses back. I could not believe it when they came out with the charger and the string bag. Somehow that string bag had gotten wedged down
all the way down.
And I was playing with that bag for 2.5 months with the string bag at the bottom.
Slamming clubs into
I had
the bag.
people at a wedding. I had people in the pro shop not looking properly. I had the club guy and the
maintenance shop.
The maintenance shop.
Oh my God.
So anyway, that has to be
you've gone up and apologized to everyone, correct?
I've not done that.
No, I didn't think so.
I might have told the pro that I found it.
I'm
not sure I told him about the entire reenactment.
So that is absolutely the number one.
It has to be, I'm afraid, sadly, for me.
You are number one boneheaded.
Right. In fact, that could become a top
that might be in the top
tiers.
3.
Yeah.
Right now, yeah, we'll
I could
mention
be
the top
joining
3.
Karen
We have
Philly
2 in the
this-
top 3. We haven't decided on number 3. We know Philly Karen is in the top 3, and it was yellow. Oh, and obviously the
foot picker.
The foot picker.
The foot picker is going to be
the
in
airplane
there.
foot picker. Yeah. So those 2 are on it, and we may have found our third. I'm not going to lie. All right. Well, let's we're gonna pivot from how those glasses, by the way, didn't break.
They are marked up. I mean, they are.
Yeah, but they're still attached. They're still they did not break.
Yeah, it is pretty amazing, isn't it?
Because it's not like you've played 1 round of golf in 2 months. I mean, you've played.
Oh, they've been
a couple of dozen rounds. A
good
dozen rounds.
And I jammed the clubs down because they won't go down in the slot, right?
Oh, all right. I got. Oh, okay. Let's go to our college and pro picks. Here's what we got. Now, obviously, we're recording this on Thursday night this week. It's been one of those weeks, so I have to apologize. And I'll explain why I'm apologizing later. But we're going to start in college football. I'm going to let Tom kick it off with his picks. And then
and we are not compare notes, but we've got a couple of common picks here.
We really do.
So, I mean, I'm going to start with this Oklahoma-Auburn game. Now, this is a bit of a revenge game for Auburn. It's in Oklahoma. Auburn actually had a 21-10 lead last year and had the game well in hand. And then Oklahoma scored, and then there was a pick six. And to make a long story short, Oklahoma wound up winning the game, and they were decimated. They had injuries. They did not have a very good year last year. This year, they've got their quarterback, John Mateer. I've got him I think he's still ahead in the Heisman.
Yeah, I think he's still number 1.
I have him. I got him at 25-1. I think he's 8-1.
Yeah, he is.
He's having a very good year. Auburn has a sticky defense. We saw that against Baylor the first week. But they're a very young team.
They don't have a great quarterback, though.
And they've got Jackson Arnold, who was the Oklahoma quarterback. Right. That's the other story.
Oh, okay.
So he's coming into Oklahoma to play. And so there's a bunch of things going on in this game. For Oklahoma cast off Arnold. He's playing for Auburn. Both teams are 3-0. Both teams have had a legitimate win. Oklahoma over Michigan, Auburn over Baylor. So you've got this, it's a really good SEC matchup. But I'm looking for Oklahoma with the better quarterback and I think the better defense and the more experienced team to win this game at home and cover. And I got the 6.5 is important here. It's up to 7 in some of the sports books. 7 doesn't feel as good, obviously, as the 6.5, but I like it at the 6.5 number. I paid a little extra juice. We go to this Utah-Texas Tech game. This is a game, I've had Utah on my radar, right? I've got them for win total over for the season at 8.5 wins. They're off to a 3-0 start. Both teams have played great. But Texas Tech has played absolutely nobody. The best team they played last week.
Notre Dame.
No, Oregon State. Oregon State.
A&M played Notre Dame.
Yeah, that game that Texas Tech had against Oregon State was brutal. We'll talk about that when we review the picks. But in any event, I like the fact that this is a field goal. Utah's home. I think it's 2 very good teams out of the Big 12, and all these teams are going to beat each other up all year. But I'm taking the home team here. It's an early start. And I think that, Texas Tech went through that long rain delay last week. They haven't really been challenged. I just like Utah this week at home with a field goal. They also have this Devin Dampier guy who's a quarterback from New Mexico. I highlighted him as somebody I put in at 60-1 to win the Heisman. He's down to 20-1. So they've got the mobile quarterback. And I think that's going to help them. Texas Tech has a good quarterback in Morton as well. But again, going to lay the 3. And then we've talked a little bit about both La Tech and Southern Miss. I had them actually both to win their conferences with long odds. And I think I had Texas Tech to go over 5.5 wins on this podcast as well. La Tech is home. Charlie Huff and Southern Miss, he got all those guys to come from Marshall to Southern Miss. Mm-hmm. And they're going to start gelling. I'd like the fact that this is a pretty light line and a higher power rated team right now at home. I think if this game was later in the year, I might be a little less interested in this one being one of the top ones. But I'm going to stick with La Tech this week and hope they can get the home win and cover what is a pretty light line of 3.5. I generally don't like to have 3 favorites on my card, but it just sort of worked out that way this week. The other thing on here is I just got a couple of plays, total parlay, right? On a totals 2-teamer, NC State and Duke over 57.5. Both of those teams are in the top 20 in passing in the country. I like, they don't think they've done, Duke has not shown that they're stopping too many people. They're giving up a lot of points, right?
They are.
Now, North Carolina State has been a little more vanilla, but you look at their scores, and the first game was 24-17, I think, against East Carolina, but they've put up some points as well. I kind of feel like this could be one where both teams go up and down the field, and we've got a number under 60. I think it's 58.5 on other sites. I was able to get it 57.5. I believe this one was on DraftKings. And then Baylor, Arizona State. It's not Arizona. It's Arizona State playing Baylor.
Yeah, only so much room.
Right. So 59.5. Again, the magic number under 60. Baylor has scored a lot of points, right? They had that.
They've given them up.
48-45 against SMU and in overtime. Last week, they didn't play anybody, and they won 42-3. I like the quarterback. Another one I stuck in long shots into the Heisman for Baylor. I almost thought about betting Baylor this week, and I may do it. But for the totals parlay, I'm taking over in those 2 games. Put them together. Obviously, a lighter bet, but you get plus 260 if you win it. And then the barking dog moneyline parlay, I'm taking Hawaii at home, and they're a plus 120.
I almost put Fresno in my.
I like this one a lot.
I like Fresno.
And the Memphis one is the longer shot, right? But they are home. They're 7.5 point underdogs to Arkansas. I haven't seen quite enough out of Arkansas to not feel that Memphis can play with them. Memphis has an experienced team, a very good offense. I have them to win their conference in future, and I like the way they're playing. So I'm like, all right, I'm putting those 2 together, and I believe that is paying out. 4 point. It might either 4 or 5. It might even be 6-1.
It's plus 625.
25. Did you have? Oh yeah, plus 625. And
that's on DraftKings because I chose
it. And I think I did get that I think I might have got it at 6-1. At 575 or 6-1. 625 is a nice number there. You can get that.
Yeah. That's what it was on DraftKings. All right, we'll move over to my college picks. I'll start with the Qs over Clemson.
Go with them. I hope you're right about that.
Well, this one's for my wife. So my wife, Clemson grad. Oh my God, my wife a Syracuse grad, not a Clemson grad.
You're gonna get.
I'm gonna get yelled at that.
Yeah,
100%. But this one's for my wife. It's a noon kickoff in Death Valley. I'm taking Qs plus the points. I got the bet in with Syracuse plus 16.5. It was floating around 17. I saw it as well, but when I went to place it, it went down to 16.5. So that's why I got it in at on DraftKings. If you're looking at the over/under, it's somewhere in the mid 50s. I didn't.
So that number was as high as 17.5, but it's coming down.
It came down a little bit.
Now, would you recommend people play that at 16.5, or do you like it?
I mean, listen, if you can get 17, obviously you're going to take it. I have no problem with 16.5 just because I have no confidence really in Clemson's offense. I mean, they've shown no gear on any game this year where they've blown out anyone.
After just trashing Dabo, this is the spot I hate for the Orangemen to be in, is having to go in and play against an angry coach and an angry team on the road. I would love to see Syracuse go down there, be competitive, and win this game. I mean, it'd be a great money line. If you really wanted to take a shot here, you'd throw a money line on this game.
And I will
hope Clemson just collapses. But
for some reason, Syracuse always plays Clemson tough.
They do. It's just not a great situation, but I think they do play them well and have beaten them and upset them before. So
right. But like I said, it's a big cushion. It's a conference game, and Clemson hasn't shown any gear where they can blow someone out.
Right.
Right this year. So There it is. Syracuse obviously throws it really well. Steve Angeli, I believe is how you pronounce it. He's already got over 1,000 yards passing in 3 games. He's playing.
Maybe leading the country in passing, but they have played.
I think he is, but I couldn't.
But they've played. Remember that they've played Colgate and UConn, right, in their 2 wins.
I know.
Right? Yeah, I'm not making a case against Syracuse, but
you're trying.
I'm worried about the game because the situation.
This after the guy just said he doesn't like taking off favorites. I take the one underdog, and you're dogging me.
I hope you're right. Let's see what happens.
Again, the Qs love the chunk plays, right? They're doing great with long plays.
Yeah.
To me, everything that I looked at, this reads backdoor cover material.
I mean, offensively, they put up 26 points against Tennessee. The problem in that game was they just couldn't stop.
They couldn't stop.
Right.
Again, flip side, Clemson's offense, it's modest at best. It's averaging 200 passing yards a game, 19 points per game.
Right.
Really strong defense, but the profile, again, I still think this is a tough game for them to cover 16.5.
Yep. Okay.
All right. If Clemson stays methodical, long possessions.
You're the guy that's 3-0 last week, so who's going to challenge you?
It sounds like you want to. All right. Again, I'm hoping for a late 2-minute drill, maybe a big explosive play by Syracuse at the end.
I'm just clueless and boneheaded, Scooter. You know,
you are this week. Again, I still think Clemson wins. I just don't think they can cover 16.5. So that's how I like Hughes there. Plus the 17.5, I got at -115.
Then you just copied my other 2 picks.
And apparently we're on we have the same brain. I can kind of go through a couple things. You already spoke out these 2 games, and what you said is pretty much spot on. I think I have Texas Tech. You got your run pass options there. They're going to take some vertical shots. For me, if Tech lands some of their explosive plays and they say above 45% on 3rd down, this cover is going to be tough to hold up, the -3. But I still think even if they do that, I still look at it as a 1-possession game. So, which I still like. I'll take a 1-possession game and I'll ride with the Utes.
Yeah, and the other thing is the Utah, I think, may have their defense is very, very, very tough.
Yes.
Right. So will Texas Tech be? I mean, they've had it so easy with their opponents that if they get into, if Utah makes a few stops and turns this into a little bit more of a grinding game, it's not going to be good for Texas Tech.
Right. So this was my game script. My game script for Utah is Utah's going to try to grind the pace down, long drives, let the crowd get behind the defense. As long as they don't have to blitz too much and they can get pressure with the 4 guys up front, Tech's going to have a tough time.
Yeah. And Utah's got the mobile quarterback as well.
Yes. Oh, big time. Then we have Southern Miss and La Tech. Again, I took La Tech here as well. I looked at ESPN analytics. That leans for the Bulldogs, 65% to 35%. I like La Tech at home. Again, they opened up this year with a 24-0 shutout in the building. They're comfortable squeezing their possessions. I think that's what they're going to do to Southern Miss.
Played LSU tough too.
They played. I mean that's got to count for something, right? That gives them a little battle testing in these things. I think the score is going to be manageable for them. I like where La Tech keeps their totals. I think it's going to be that high teens, low 20s is where they're going to be scoring, and I'll give up the 3.5 points. And I'll take the ESPN matchup predictor and their venue, and hopefully a nice September evening in Rooston will be kind to the Bulldogs. And I'll take La Tech at home. We'll move on to NFL. Again, NFL is a little different overall. I did not. Oh, I will step back 1 sec. I don't do many college parlays. What I end up doing, because I get bored on a Saturday morning, is I'll usually pick like anywhere from 8 to 12 college games that have anywhere from a -500 on the money line to a -800, and just parlay them together and see what happens.
Just take a lot of favorites and lump them and hope you don't get upset in one of them.
Like I did in week 1 with Army.
Army, you're right.
But it is what it is. I'll start off with the NFL picks. I have Dallas over Chicago -1.5. To me, this line is wrong. I don't like -1.5. I think Dallas wins this game, kind of running away with it.
And Chicago's a favorite, right?
And no, Dallas is giving
I don't
1.5,
know.
-1.5.
I've seen some sites where I think Chicago's been -1.
So the way I have it is I have Dallas over Chicago -1.5. So Dallas is giving 1.5.
Yeah.
But that's where, and again, these
That's
are
what
in
you
my,
got when you looked.
that's what
Yeah.
I got. I took all favorites here. I took Indy over Tennessee. I have no faith in Tennessee. And listen, Indiana Jones, I'm riding with him until he bucks. I'm going to stay on Daniel Jones, right? I'll give up the 4.5, and I think they're going to cover this easily too. And I'm going against my better judgment here. I never, ever, ever pick the Jets because that's my team, and every time I pick them, they mess me up. I'm assuming the Jets will now win this game outright
Because you're betting
because
Tampa
I'm
Bay.
taking Tampa Bay -7. And yeah, and I even got -115, so I didn't even get that much juice on it. Clearly, the money's moving towards Tampa Bay's
Yes.
way. I like
I'll
Tyrod
tell you,
Taylor. I do like him, but I don't think he's going to put points on like Justin Fields. So I'll take Tampa Bay.
So a lot of that's interesting because that game was started at 4.5 or 5 and moved out to 7, and it was because of Fields' injury.
Yep.
Now I have the opposite thought on that game. The Bucks just won this dramatic game Monday
And I am
night.
worried a little bit about Baker's health.
Right. He got banged up. They won a dramatic game. The Jets are wounded. If everyone's throwing him under the bus and forgotten that they played the Steelers so well in week 1.
They did.
And now Tampa Bay's in a flat spot. So I would not disagree with the fact that Tampa could just run them out of the building. Mm-hmm. But the fact that they're getting a seasoned backup quarterback in a flat spot for the Bucks, I would actually probably be on the other side of this one. But it's an interesting play because I think you're going with the fact that they are playing a quarterback that, their quarterback is injured and the Bucks are on a roll, and you think they're going to roll the Jets down in Tampa Bay.
I do.
Yeah.
And again, we both listened to these in Sports Network a lot on Sirius XM, and a lot of those guys do like the Jets.
Yeah. Some of these sharper players like these ugly dogs.
Yeah.
Right. Okay. So you want to talk about your
So I'll talk about my
too?
parlay real quick. And this is where I apologize earlier. When I was doing the parlay, I shouldn't have done Miami Buffalo. Clearly, you guys are going to hear this after Miami Buffalo. So,
throw it out. Throw that one out of the parlay, right?
Yeah. Well, it's already in my bank because
it's in your bank. But for anyone else,
just throw it out. Now, I will tell you, I had 4 teams. When I went to a 5th team, I got a little better juice. With the 4 teams on those alternate totals, it was about 180 plus 180.
Yeah, because you're moving the lines on all those games.
I'm moving the lines on all of them. Last week I did the same thing, but I did overs, and I lost the over on.
You're the Undertaker this week.
So
you're going under.
I went under this week, and I lost the over on the Jet game.
So you missed one last week.
I ended up missing 2 at the time. I missed the Jet game because that was the first one. It was Jets and Buffalo.
Yeah,
and.
The Jets didn't score any points.
Jets didn't score, and then I ended up missing Philly KC because that went low.
Yeah, that one surprised me how low that game went.
How low that game was.
Especially because you had an alternate total on that. All right, well, jumping over to mine. So I'm going to give the Steelers one more chance, right? I've been burned with them twice.
Yeah.
Right? I took them in week 1, laying 2.5.
You're not fading them out yet.
Laying 2.5 against the Jets on the road. They win by 2. Last week, it's disaster. In fact, their kickoff returner almost got into the Boneheaded Clueless list this week because he allowed a kick to go over his head, sit in the end zone, and Seattle
just recovered walked away from it.
Yeah, and Seattle just jumped on and scored a touchdown out of it, and that killed the Steelers. It was still a close game at that point. And then he went down by 2 touchdowns and couldn't come back. So in this game, this is a bit of an anti-Patriot bet, right? And sorry to Tyler Ferris, who's going to be at the game. I was talking to him last night up at Mount Tabor. He's a Patriot guy. I have to go with the Steelers here. I feel like the Patriots got by Miami last week. They earned the victory, but it was a really, really high-scoring, back-and-forth game. Neither team was that impressive. I know the Steelers have not played
Just
well.
no defense.
Yeah, I feel like the Steeler defense is going to stiffen this week and
They
create
haven't yet.
problems for the Patriots, and because they're not as bad as they've played. And I like the fact that this is very, very light line. I mean, it's one of those games that, yes, the Steelers could win by a point and I could lose this bet. I like the 1.5. If the Steelers do not cover this week, they've struck out with me. They're going to be on my
no way
list.
this is a 1 point game when all's said and done. I don't care which way. It's not 1 point.
It wouldn't seem like it, but I mean, the line's that for a reason, right?
I know.
The Panthers is a bet. Like Atlanta is, went from having a tough loss to Tampa to kind of boat racing through Minnesota and beating them 22-6. I feel here like the Panthers showed something against Arizona at the end of the game.
They did.
They're going to come back.
I did not like that, but
this is their. I feel I was higher on the Panthers than they showed in week 1 against the Jags. I think they started to show some fight last week. And I think I like getting the 5.5 points. And in fact, I think I might have even gotten it at 6 when I entered it. 5.5 is probably what you saw. So I think if you can get a 6, it's even better. If you have, I still like it at 5.5. And then I'm going to go to Monday night and I'm going to count on the Ravens to just really come out strong in that game against Detroit. I know Detroit came back after the bad loss to Green Bay on the road and took care of the Bears handily at home. I like a Monday night Raven runaway here. I think Detroit has still got some issues. I think Goff he's not a scrambler, and I think the Ravens are going to, create problems for him all evening. And life is not going to be easy for their offense, and the Ravens will run through the Lion defense.
I'll be honest with you. I don't like that pick. I
like the points.
I can just see it being like a 3-point game when it's all said.
Yeah, well, I mean, because the Lions are a good team.
They can put up points. I'm throwing out that Green Bay game. I think Green Bay's defense clearly is for real. What they did against the Lions and then follow it up the next week. So I don't love that pick. I can see the Ravens doing it. Don't get me wrong. I think Goff's going to put up points.
Yeah, I mean, a lot of people are predicting that to be a shootout, but I kind of feel like the Ravens are going to keep the Lion offense in check, and that's why I'm willing to lay the 4.5.
I agree with you. I think they will, but that's why I don't like the 4.5 because that's why I see it being like a 3-point game at the end.
Yeah, but I mean, if the Ravens are able to score on the Lions and go up and down the field on them and then give the Lion offense trouble, that's what I'm looking for. I'm looking for this to be a 10 to 14 point game.
Right. I just don't know if the Ravens defense is going to do that.
Now, there's a lot of chances in the double dog dare money line parlay here. Michelle's not going to like this, but
she's not.
The Rams over the Eagles, the Titans over the Colts, giving you plus 570.
I love the 570 though.
Yeah, well, I'm taking a home team in the Titans. I know you have the Colts,
I do.
In your line, and you're going with Danny Dimes and Indiana Jones. I got to see one more week of that. I think the Titans defense is undervalued. I think they're going to break through and get their win, back-to-back home games, and the Colts are going to come crashing down a bit this week. And I just love that Ram-Eagle, that, it's a rematch of the NFC Championship game. I think the Rams are going to be up for that game. The Eagles just expended a lot to beat the Chiefs. I like the Rams come back East Coast again after going to Tennessee and put up a great game and maybe take the Eagles down. So
I don't think the Eagles have been overly impressive in the first.
They haven't,
weeks.
But they've taken care of business.
But they're still the Eagles. I don't like Titans over Colts, obviously, because I like Indy over Tennessee. But I mean,
remember,
I like the plus 570.
Well, that's the point.
So I do like that.
Other candidates on here, Scooter, were the Jets and Giants, and I decided to lay away from that. Right, a Jet-Giant parlay. I mean, I said Tampa's in a flat spot. I've got Kansas City to miss the playoffs from a preseason bet, right, which was posted on this podcast. I would love to see the Giants take them down and put them at 0-3. And I have the Giants to win over 6.5 games, which is starting to feel kind of tough. But
I have them under 4.5.
So I know, you and I against each other.
They're doing everything I want so far.
Yeah, losing 2 games.
Losing 2 games. Hey, it's gotta start with somewhere. Yeah, I mean, I think I'm a little surprised about you going back to the well with the Steelers. I think Panthers, Falcons, I have no faith in Bryce Young.
I know you're not. Yeah,
I'm just so I don't like that. But that can totally win. But I just think the Lions are gonna put up too many points on for you. But I don't love my Tampa Bay bet either. So there we are. But let's bask in the glory of last
you can
weekend.
bask in the glory.
So
At
yes,
least in college.
what you are seeing is many little check marks next to my picks. I obviously Arizona.
That was a good one.
It was a great. It was a good
solid pick.
game. It was a solid win. I even had money on Arizona on the money line. Got a little bit more there, and I did take the point. So they hit both. The West Virginia pick game. West Virginia won outright. Man.
That was a great overtime, right?
An overtime,
that was a great
and
game.
They were singing "Take Me Home, Country Road," and it was great to see.
I complimented you on that pick because that is such a rivalry. You get a touchdown. West Virginia is a little down this year, but Rich Rod's a good coach, and they put up the battle.
That crowd was pumping. That was a fun game to watch. And then we have not done our shout outs yet for this week. We had a couple of shout outs. One in particular was our friend Sean.
Yeah.
He threw some smackdown on us about the Gamecocks, and he was going to be the only one happy because the Gamecocks were going to win because you and I both picked Vandy.
And we were going to be losers with our pick. That's what he was thinking.
That's what he was thinking. He was going to.
Did he have too much? He probably had a little too much Buc-ee's in his blood.
Well, he offered to buy us some Buc-ee's. He was going to bring us some brisket.
Yeah.
But
Vanderbilt just boat raced them, right? It wasn't even. You didn't even need to watch the end of that game.
You need to watch the end. Not only do they win outright by quite a few, they could have given the Gamecocks a few points and still been okay.
Yeah, I think it was 31-7. It was not close.
So that is back-to-back weeks for me, 3-0 after starting 0-3. So I'm sitting at 6-3 for my overall.
Yep. And I see you corrected.
I did correct.
For week 1, I was 1-3.
He was 1-3 in week 1. When I thought I had him 0-3, he had 4 picks. I missed one of the picks, so I did update his current. Is currently 5-5 is correct,
right? And just I'm not going to comment. I mean, the Delaware. That was the other part of Sean's thing was to lay off beating up the hens. Delaware. And as soon as some of the sharp players were on Delaware on Saturday morning, I knew I was in trouble. I'm like, I missed something here, and they went out and won the game in overtime. Flat. They won it. They could have money lined Delaware.
You could have money line. Yeah, I mean, I can't believe UConn laid that big of an egg. To be honest with you.
Well, I think
I'm okay with Delaware.
I still am confused by that. Other than
I didn't see UConn winning. I mean, UConn losing.
I mean, the fact that they took Syracuse to overtime in the Dome and were ahead of them most of the game,
and you liked it. That's why that swayed you.
We already talked about Vanderbilt. The one that stung the most was this Texas Tech Oregon State game. All right. I don't really like to go over games that are north of 60. Of course, they scored 59.
And we made the comment last week about
that. I know, but it was another delay on an over bet. It happened before where we hit it with Navy and UAB. And this game was delayed for about 2.5 hours after it had started and gone 3 minutes in. Texas Tech got up 35-0, settled for a field goal, threw an interception. There was all sorts of ways they could have scored 55 points on their own. And then Oregon State predictably gets a couple late insignificant touchdowns and brings it to 59. And it was just a torturous kind of loss because of the way it unfolded, right? The game took 5 hours. I mean, I wasn't watching it, but if you were tracking it, you knew what was happening.
Right.
And this was brutal. And, it never really had a chance, and yet it kind of did if there'd been something at the very end.
2 points, right?
Yeah.
But again, the only comment I had was that you literally make a comment that you don't like going over 60, and here you are throwing 61.5, and you lose by 2.
Yeah, right. Yeah.
Yep. So Tom's 5-5. I'm 6-3. Hopefully you guys are making some money off this. I'm definitely building my bank right now on the college side. Of course, I did a stupid bet on Monday night, and I tried to took all my winnings and threw it on the over, and I did not win. So I'm still up, but I gave some of it back because that's what I do. Couple of quick takeaways from week 2. So I didn't mention it. So obviously Green Bay takes down the Lions week 1 and the Commanders in week 2.
Yeah,
and their
impressive.
defense was the story. I don't love Jordan Love. I every deep ball I watched Jordan Love throw in that Commanders game, he overthrew his receivers anywhere between 4 and like 8 yards. None of them hit, and the one that did hit, they had a holding penalty that came back. So he completed one pass down the field more than 10
But they
yards.
basically thwarted 2 pretty good offensive teams.
Right. Yes, and so I think Green Bay's defense is the story here. And what can you say about J.J. McCarthy?
You know, it's too bad because I think he's just not quite. I don't know what there is about him. He played very, very well late in the Chicago game.
Yeah, 1 quarter.
And we both had Atlanta last week. We were on Atlanta. And, I said, again, he's going to come back. It's game 2. Unfortunately, he gets injured late in the game.
Yeah.
And they just looked dead offensively. And the defense wore down. Atlanta just wore them down with Robinson. And they just ran through Minnesota's defense. They got tired. Minnesota could generate nothing on offense last week. Nothing.
What do you think? So now they're looking at Carson Wentz. He's going to be starting this week.
It's going to be interesting against Browning from the Bengals, right? You got 2 injured quarterbacks.
2 injured quarterbacks.
Yeah.
And that line's been moving all over.
And I don't buy the third one. I refuse to buy the Danny Jones after watching him with the Giants for all those years.
I don't disagree, but God,
I'm tired already of it. And I think we're going to see the Titans take care of them this week.
Indiana Jones, baby, he's coming. So a couple quick takeaways. Again, I'm all over Danny Dimes' resurgence. I'm riding Indiana Jones this weekend as well. So hopefully he keeps the fedora on and the whipping and keeps it rolling. So here's all the 0-2 teams. Who's dead? Who's still kind of alive? Out of these, I think it's 10 teams that are 0-2. Other than Houston and KC, can you make a case for anyone else that are going to make the playoffs?
I think I might. So before the season started, I would have made no case for the Browns, Dolphins, or Saints, right? Those 3 teams to me, I know some people thought Miami might be okay, right?
I was one of those people. I'm not going to
lie. And they may still be. They're playing the Bills tonight. They were in a tight game when we were watching. I certainly hope the Bills win for multiple reasons, but
I hope it's under 57.5.
But I think that those 3 teams were not teams I thought could do much this year. I did think we would see a little more out of the Panthers and Giants. And I think Tennessee will get better as the season goes on. Now, if you're talking about are they dead, can they make the playoffs?
That's all I'm talking about. Can they make the playoffs?
Obviously, the Texans and Chiefs. Of those, other than those 2, who would I say could make the playoffs on that list? It's not the Bears. I just don't think they're going to have enough. I don't know that there is another team. I mean, I still think if the Titans win this week and beat the Colts, that division is so weak that they might be the team. They might be the team on that list that I would say maybe has a chance. Okay. Decent defense, boneheaded coach. I mean,
Callahan's not showing you anything.
Right. And I think Tampa's too good for Carolina to make the playoffs. So if you're asking playoffs,
asking playoffs.
I think it's probably Tennessee of the other than the other 2 you mentioned would be the team I think could get hot.
I kind of was thinking the Browns only because of their defense. But
the defense is very good.
But that would be the I think. But
they're in such a hard division.
But the division's brutal. Yeah. So, but a nice little side. Just you always want to look at who starts out 0-2 because there's always a few of those.
I'd like to say the Giants, but I don't know that I could say that right now.
And I would love to say the Jets. Not saying that either. And now for our new segment. What were they thinking? So we've already brought up the Indy final drive.
Yeah, the 60-yard drive.
But now we're gonna look into that a little bit. But we're gonna start with Carolina and the Arizona game.
That was just brutal to watch.
So it ended up being Arizona's run away with this game. They were up, I think,
27-3.
27-3.
Yep.
Carolina gets a late touchdown, then they get the ball back. Arizona's doing nothing. Murray's doing nothing. They're throwing the ball all over the. It's horrible. They just forget how to play football in the fourth quarter. It's the last drive, and on 6 consecutive plays, the refs throw a flag, and every flag is against Arizona, which resulted in close to 60 yards in penalties on the last freaking play.
I think there might have been one penalty on Carolina and 5 to 6 on Arizona. I do remember there being one on Carolina, but
there's a 5-yard.
But there was a fumble that Arizona recovered, and they still found a way to call a penalty on Arizona. And give it Carolina.
So there was one play that had 4 penalties.
Yes,
3 of them was on Carolina, but 1 was on Arizona. And what does that result in? We'll just do it over. They all offset. I don't know what the refs were thinking. It was horrible. And in the same vein, look at the Giants. 14 penalties in that Dallas game.
Yeah, I mean,
160 yards.
That was a wild game. It really was. But that, and then Russ's decision at the end after having such a great game when he had the ball to just throw the ball up and
it was Dallas nowhere near a receiver.
No, in the 64-yard. That was just brutal. Be a Giant fan and watch that unfold.
Yeah.
You're right. The penalties pile up.
Yeah.
But they could have won that game despite the penalties.
So they go into overtime. Do you know how many possessions there were in overtime? It's a 10-minute overtime.
I know.
Period. There were 5 possessions.
Yeah.
It took Dallas 5 possessions to kick a field goal. And you have a kicker that clearly has a leg like no one else.
Right.
He's hitting 64-yard chip shots.
Yep, because you're right. Because Dallas got the ball, then the Giants, and Dallas, and the Giants, and Dallas. Yeah, it was crazy.
There were 5 lead changes in like the last 7 minutes of the game. It was insane. And then obviously we touched on this a little bit. Indianapolis is we're going to run the ball 18 times when we're inside the 50-yard line and make our kicker kick something.
I'm not sure it was 18, but yes.
We're going to make our kicker kick a ball that clearly he doesn't have the leg for.
I guess the coach knew that the refs in Denver were going to bail him out. Yeah.
So a little news today was just what were they thinking? Some headlines and stories from this past week. But that's it. That's episode 14, everyone. As always, like, comment, and subscribe. We'll see you next week.
Good one.
See y'all.